Hi, welcome everyone to PopCultX episode 45, where we talk about everything from sports to
I laugh
with a straight face.
Almost.
Movies, music, all from a perspective from the Gen X point of view. So let's go ahead and get started this week, Danny.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's talk about sports.
Yeah. Obviously, the quote big game or Super Bowl happens, Sunday?
Yeah. Can you even say Super Bowl without getting fined? Or like...
is the NFL watching our YouTube? Or
who knows how big who knows how long the reach of the NFL arms are? You know, there could be like someone to Super Bowl and like some light goes off somewhere. I don't know.
Yeah.
But the big game, yeah.
Yeah. So I didn't watch it. I'm not a fan of any type of sports ball. So I wasn't really drawn to watching it. But of course, obviously the halftime show is the big draw, I think now for many people. Obviously football is still really popular, but I think for the most part now a lot of people really tune in specifically just for the halftime show. And this one didn't disappoint. So what were your thoughts? And did you watch the halftime? And what were your thoughts about it?
I watched the halftime afterwards. I didn't watch it live.
Oh,
so
you didn't?
I watched. No, I think I was at the gym maybe during this big game. And no, so I saw it like briefly on there, but no sound. So I went back later on and watched the halftime show. And it was really good. I really appreciated that because the Super Bowl was in Inglewood, which, you know, is a smaller city in the LA metro area. And you've been to that stadium, so you know. And
I want to say that I was like there for like the first time that it opened. Or
yeah, I think you said that for that concert. Yeah. And the fact that they got artists, well, majority of them who are from that area and grew up in those streets, you know, and it was just really cool to see. Like Snoop Dogg was just a couple blocks away from there, Dr. Dre as well. Yeah. So I just think that was a really cool that they brought that back in for the first big event and this big concert. I mean, for a lot of artists, Super Bowl is like the top of the mountain, right? The Super Bowl halftime show is the peak, and they're not going to get much bigger than that because it's got an audience of how many million worldwide, how many different countries is it going into? So it's like a way to get their name out there if they're still up and rising, or the way to showcase, hey, I'm still alive type of thing. But I thought it was really cool. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to question something. Do people outside of the United States really care about football? Like, do people in like the UK or like China like watch American football?
Well, I think in Europe, I know NFL Europe was a thing back in the day, like maybe a decade ago, where they had like several franchises in like Barcelona, London, and they were like NFL properties, right?
Yeah.
So they were trying to spread the game worldwide. I know soccer or football is more prevalent, but I think the Super Bowl is one event that it is a global event, more so than just the sporting aspect of it. The halftime show and the commercials are global events.
Yeah.
More so than the game. It's more of the halftime show being the draw. As for yourself, like think people like you around worldwide who might not care about the sport being played, but they want to see the entertainment.
Yeah. That's true. I liked the people that they brought on. I was a big fan of Dr. Dre in high school, at college. I liked his music. Kendrick Lamar, I think that was who was on it, right? Kendrick Lamar. It's sort of like the newer-ish rapper or on the scene or whatever. Big fan of Mary J. Blige, so I liked her little set. I loved the way she like flew and flung herself backwards and
at the end,
all that at the end, just like I thought that was hilarious, and like it of course like created like hundreds and thousands of memes of her. I'm not a huge fan of 50 Cent or Eminem. So I was, it was whatever. And so I thought that it was cool. I mean, I haven't seen if there's been any backlash. Like I kind of expected that mainstream, like older white people would have been upset about it because it's hip hop and
there was.
Was there a
There
lot
was
of bad
lots of
feedback?
backlash about it, and especially on Twitter. That's where I spend most of my social media time.
Yeah.
And the whole backlash really stemmed around not just the hip hop performances, who they were, and you could tell who's going to not like that already, right?
Yeah.
But also Eminem, who, like you, I'm not a big fan of, never have been,
Yeah.
of him taking a knee at the end of his performance in hopefully solidarity with Kaepernick, right? So hopefully that was what it was for. I know some people were calling, hey, let us know why you did it, give your reasoning. And then the other side is like, actions speak louder than words. He doesn't need to explain anything. This is what he did it for.
Yeah. I think that, I mean, I'm not going to knock him for doing it, but I think that it puts the spotlight on him. And then if he doesn't address the real issue and say that, Black Lives Matter or what the reason, motivation for that, bring out Colin Kaepernick and have him take a knee.
Have a conversation with both of them together. Yeah.
But it just speaks to then his, him being his entitlement that as a white person in the rap community, he has, been able to profit off of the hip hop culture, which was created by Black people, and then be able to make a statement, and he'll be able to come away with it from that by, apparently making a political or controversial statement scot-free. He won't be penalized. He won't have any negative repercussions of that. And it's like, that like kind of speaks to the whole thing of like the hypocrisy of that. Like, okay, the white rapper can come do it, and sure, he'll get maybe some like naysayers, but for the most part, he's not going to be impacted by it. And he doesn't even have to make a statement. He doesn't really have to even stand up for what he believes in or anything. And so it's like, but he gets the cred of like, oh, Eminem took a knee and he supports us, but he didn't really make that big of a stand. And is he sacrificing anything for it? Like, if anything, it helps his career and shows that he's more an ally of the community. Well, he should be, because he's profited, off of their culture and their music that they created. So, I mean, I didn't think that it was like a great moment. Like, I'm not going to like give him a cookie or applaud him for it, because it was a win-win for him. Like, there's
that's true.
No, so it's like, put the spotlight on the people that need to have it. Don't like put yourself in the conversation when like the conversation should be with them and on them. But whatever. Outside of that, I'm kind of curious, because I joked about Snoop Dogg being a Crip or a former Crip and coming out with basically the world's largest bandana, like, as his outfit. I was curious if like people were going to criticize him about that and use that as ammunition to criticize this halftime show by saying like it glorifies gang culture, or, here's a former gangster, like, still kind of romanticizing or glamorizing gang life and gang culture. But again, like I said, I haven't seen in that, but I was kind of curious.
I haven't heard anything about the
surprising though, right? Like, I mean, he's known for being a Crip and came out with.
I think now, personally, what I saw with more criticism was, oh, he smoked weed right before he performed. It's like, well, it's Snoop Dogg, of course, So I think, to me, that's what I know him more for, is being a weed smoking rapper, as opposed to a gangster rap that's where he grew out of, right? So maybe it's a sign of his maturity and growing up, and maybe just how people perceive him. So it's no longer that whole, oh, he can wear a blue, it doesn't matter anymore, because we don't associate him with that gangster rap scene anymore.
Yeah. But he obviously still feels very much aligned with that though, right? I mean, I don't think that it's a coincidence that he wore that outfit representing the West Coast and representing.
Yeah, I saw what I saw is it had blue and it had some like gold. So I saw it as LA Rams colors. That's how I saw it. Yeah. I don't know how other people, maybe you just want to get into some gang war there. I don't know, but that's how I saw it.
Well, did you see that Ice-T, I think, tweeted about like, for anyone coming into LA, be careful. There's over like 55 different gangs, like watch your back or something to that effect, like to all the, like the young, like rappers that are coming into his neighborhood thinking that they can just like come party. He kind of gave that as a warning. So I thought that was kind of interesting that the OG Ice-T was kind of, giving them a warning, like this is, it's all fun and games, but you have to take it seriously at the same time.
Yeah. Well, I guess, I mean, that goes for any situation, to some young kid who thinks they're the want to be the new top lion, right? So they want to come in. They got to make sure they don't overstep themselves, because it is still a real life situation that could be there. So I don't know.
Yeah, it was cool. I mean, I'm glad that hip hop took center stage in the halftime show, which has never happened before. Because I think that it should be indicative of popular music, and hip hop is obviously one of the most popular forms of music, period. So I'm glad that they were able to have that moment. And one of the other things is like the celebs sightings at the Super Bowl. Obviously, the rich and famous get their tickets to go to like the world's biggest team. I think who was Kanye West was there with his two of his kids.
Yeah.
Who else was there? I forgot. Jay-Z and Beyonce were there. So there was a lot of celebrities that were in the stands as well, watching the game, that I thought was kind of interesting, just to kind of.
Well, they can afford it.
Yeah, I mean, and then what's funny is that, like, do those famous people even pay? Like, I feel like they just get them comped to them because it shows that they're there. Like, I doubt even that Beyonce and Jay-Z had to pay. They're just like, oh, here's tickets, and someone else.
Well, they get some like corporation to give them their suites or something like that, and they get in there to the nice box seats. And I saw like Will Ferrell was there.
Yeah.
I saw a bunch of celebrities, but I just want to touch real quick on the halftime show.
Yeah.
Two things. Kendrick Lamar and his choreographer for his dance routine, I thought was phenomenal.
Yeah.
The way all the gentlemen there all dressed similarly and with their hand movements, it was just very powerful to see. I can imagine what it must have been like in the stands watching that, but on TV it was really great. And the last thing, how long was 50 Cent hanging upside down for? What's your over under?
I'm guessing not that long, because as everyone's made note of, he's gotten a bit bigger than we've seen him in the past. So as a big guy myself, we're not wanting to hang upside down for long periods of time. Not that anyone would want to do that. But, I thought it was funny, a throwback to his video that he's sort of like, that made him popular. So definitely the show had like really cool choreography, cool staging. There have been some people that kind of made fun of like people who were sitting behind the stage, probably hated it because everything was all facing one direction. But other than that, I thought Kendrick Lamar was the standout performance, because the dancers in unison stepping, and they're all blonde hair, and it was just very striking and a very cool performance. Like even Kendrick's rhymes and rap and his delivery was a standout. And so
I agree.
I think he overshadowed everyone else's performance. So I thought that was cool.
I completely agree. Yeah. Another standout or what people come to watch the Super Bowl for, not me, because I watched it on the Peacock channel afterwards, is all the commercials.
Yeah.
So they didn't get my view time during the actual game. Who won? I don't even know that. So
I think the Rams won.
Oh, did they? Because I swear I didn't even look at the score. Last I saw was like, I think Cincinnati was winning, and I was like, whatever. But the commercials there was a couple I liked. The rest were kind of bad. Yeah. Like the General Motors commercial, which featured Mike Myers reprising his role as Dr. Evil. Yeah. That to me was the best commercial. It was just the right amount of nostalgia that you look for in a commercial. So, and especially for us Gen X guys, I mean, the commercials were kind of geared towards us. So there was that one. There was the Cable Guy with Jim Carrey for Verizon. That was pretty funny. But I think with the General Motors, Rob Lowe was in there, Seth Green was in there, and it was just so spot on for made me miss Mike Myers and Austin Powers. Makes me want another movie of his. Yeah. So it was really cool. I mean, I had to look up what they were selling again because I forgot what they were hawking. I just remembered it was Dr. Evil and another Austin Powers moment. So that's what really stood out for me.
Yeah. What are the commercials? I didn't watch them live, but I know that I think that BMW released one with Arnold Schwarzenegger and Salma Hayek as Zeus, and was it Athena?
And Athena or Hera? I wasn't sure.
I forget what Zeus's wife's name is. Is it Hera?
I think it's Hera.
Yeah. So I thought that was really cool. I thought it was funny. I love both of them. It was really cute and like nothing, it wasn't history making, but it was just like funny to see him as Zeus and like driving an electric car. And, so I thought that was funny. I think you're right that it does prove the halftime show and the commercials really prove that like Gen X are like the generation right now. Like everything's kind of geared towards us and our memories of like the past or music, because we're at that age that I think that we're kind of, in power. Whereas the new generation sort of like retired, going downhill. The up and comers are like still on the up and coming, but we're like right in the middle. So I think that we're going to see more of that. Just in general, commercials in general, I think speak to us. We're probably one of the big target demographics. So we're going to see more throwbacks to old shows and old movies that were really popular for our generation.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, they go after where the money's at, right?
Yeah. Another commercial that aired that was really cool was the preview for Moon Knight on Disney Plus. I'm really excited about that.
Oh goodness, I am super excited for that.
There is a part of me though when I saw it, and I'm like, I kind of want it to be a movie because I feel like movies are a bigger deal, and Oscar Isaac and the character would be bigger if it was a movie. But then I'm like, but they do so good with their show that like it can be just as big on the on the streaming platform. And then I'm like, well, but I kind of like it if it's just like a story beginning and an end within a movie versus like 12 episodes. But I'm like, well, 12 episodes would give us more. I keep going back and forth as to like whether or not I'm happy that it's a streaming show versus a movie. And I'm like almost like 50-50 right now. I'm like, I'll obviously have to wait to see it. But I guess maybe I'm a little bit more glad that it is a show because we'll get more than 2 hours.
Right. Yeah.
So
it's funny you mentioned that because on Netflix they have this documentary called I think it's Voir, VOIR, and it's basically about the love of cinema made by these visual. It's like several visual essays. One I watched today was called Film versus Television, and they talked about what you just said, where film has a complete capsule, like a beginning and end. Whereas a TV series, they can extend it out, but it's all around the central idea. So I think for Moon Knight, I'm very happy that it's a TV series because, as you know, Moon Knight has 3-4 different identities. So we will get maybe an episode of each of them, which will be really great because that's what I really love about the comic book series is seeing there's Mark Spector, there's Jake Langley, there's Stephen Wright, I think is his other name, and Mr. Knight. And each of them are a very formed version of, they're each this character inside his mind. And I can't wait to see this because I've been devouring that comic book series. It's so great.
Yeah. The artwork is great. On I think all of the books that, all the different iterations of Moon Knight, I've always been really impressed with the artwork in it. It tends to be a character that the image is plays a really big part of it, because sometimes there are story driven books that the artwork kind of takes a seat back. And it's like, maybe it's not, the artwork's not that dynamic, but the story is so good. But I feel like Moon Knight's always like really cool when it comes to the artwork. But the other commercial or preview that we had was Doctor Strange, in the madness of the multiverse. I don't know what it's called.
Multiverse of Madness, I think.
Multiverse of Madness. So I'm really excited about that because we got very, I was going to say very clear cut ideas of what may be coming, but that's not necessarily true. But we did get more sneak peeks as to what we can expect. We're obviously getting Scarlet Witch. She may be the villain. There's a clip of her, telling Doctor Strange, like, why is it that you can, fuck with the multiverse and you're okay, but when I do it, I'm like a crazy bitch, basically. And it's right.
That's a powerful quote. Yeah.
And she's just such a cool character. Like I can't wait to see more of her. And then we also see clips of America Chavez in it. So she's obviously like, we see like a monster that's like kind of chasing after her. She can go through different portals through the multiverses. So her powers, obviously, I think, going to play a big role of it. We also see like evil Doctor Strange, or like the evil iteration of Doctor Strange, which is cool. And we see someone battling the Scarlet Witch, who a lot of people are saying might be Tom Cruise playing a version of Iron Man, which I hate, which I will be so pissed if that's true.
Well, people saying it's either Superior Iron Man played by Tom Cruise, or it's a variant of Captain Marvel.
Yes, and it's Maria Rambeau that is Photon, or Captain Marvel, which is a throwback to the comic book series, which it has to be. Like that's the one that I'm going for. And if you look at the figure, it looks very feminine. Like the shape, like small waist, but I'm like, Tom Cruise is a very small man, so so it's possible it's him. But I'm looking forward to possibly seeing Miss Rambeau in the movie and her taking up the mantle of either Photon, or I think Spectre might be another name that she had, Captain Marvel, whatever iteration of that name or character it is, I'm excited to see. And then also the biggest surprise of it, which I like had a heart attack in, like, obviously fanning over, is we hear Patrick Stewart's voice and get a glimpse of his bald head and his wheelchair. So obviously Professor X, is this going to be the introduction to the X-Men into the Marvel Cinematic Universe? Is he there as part of the Illuminati, which, if you read the comics, he's part of a group of heroes that takes up the mantle of the Illuminati to protect the universe? It's Namor, Professor X, Iron Man. There's like 5 of them. I can't remember all of them at this moment, but so there's rumors that it might be that. I'm hoping that it's Professor X. There also was rumor that Famke Janssen was filming, and she famously has portrayed Phoenix or Jean Grey. And so there's rumors that that person fighting Scarlet Witch might be Jean Grey as a Phoenix, which would be awesome, because when you think about who could defeat the Scarlet Witch, like, Jean Grey as the Phoenix is probably one of the characters that's powerful enough to defeat someone that's like, in that state.
Overpowered.
Yeah. And so that would be cool. I'm just really excited. There's like so many different things that can happen with this, that it's just like,
take multiverses. Yeah. Your options are endless, right? So yeah, it's really cool. I mean, I saw people were going crazy
with the multiverses, and like, that whole like trope in films where it's like the scene gets replayed over and over and over again. I hope I don't see that. That's one of the things. I just watched the What If series and the evil Doctor Strange version, because I'm like, I obviously, since they're having him in it, like, I have to watch it, and I think they say they're connected, and it's so good. They did such a good job with that episode.
Yeah, they did.
The artwork, the voices, the story itself was really cool. It was really sad and dark and kind of depressing, but it was cool. Like, I loved it. I wish I would have watched it when it first came out, but now it's kind of more fresh in my memory. So when I go and see Doctor Strange, I'll have a better understanding of it. But yeah, like, I'm just really excited and stoked about it. I can't wait.
And so is everyone else. I mean, I see them nitpicking like tiny little things. Oh, this little picture on a broken piece of glass, that's Deadpool. Or like this other picture, that's like Richard Reed from Fantastic Four. They're bringing them all in. And it's, well, cool, yes, but let's just wait to see what happens. B, I don't know.
I think there's one that has the shield of Agent Carter as Captain Carter.
Captain Carter, yeah.
Yeah, that would be really cool. There's just a lot. I mean, we could speculate all day and all night about what possibilities could happen, because obviously anything could happen. But I mean, one for sure thing is America Chavez is in it. So Latinx superhero finally in an MCU movie.
Big screen,
that by itself makes me want to watch it like today and right now. So I'm just excited to see that. America Chavez is one of my favorite characters. So that in itself is like a win. And for me, like they won just by doing that. So
right.
I'm happy to see that.
One of the other reports I saw
what's up?
about the movie was people were saying that Sam Raimi, the director, had to go back and do some reshoots because it was too scary.
Oh, really?
It is supposed to be a horror movie, so they had to go to reshoots. I guess Disney wanted it to be not as scary, but that I guess Sam Raimi quoted that it's still going to be a horror film. So we'll see.
Just be glad that Steven Soderbergh didn't direct it, and it's not just like a full-on porn of like superheroes having sex with each other
throughout the multiverse.
That would be hilarious. It's just like Doctor Strange goes to a multiverse, and it's like himself, and he's like, "Yeah, in this multiverse, I'm a pimp," and he just has like I'm still not over Steven Soderbergh having that quote about sex and superhero movies. The other last week, another big like kind of preview was DC. I know you're like the MCU universe fan, but DC also released some images of their new movies that's going to be coming out, and the big one is obviously The Rock as
Black Adam.
Yeah, Black Adam. And in Black Adam, they're also introducing Dr. Fate, which is a really cool character. Cyclone.
Is he the one played by Pierce Brosnan?
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's really cool. Like we're getting Hawkman, which looked really cool as well. I don't know if you saw the previews.
I saw the image of him in his wings going out.
Yeah, super cool. We also got some clips from Aquaman, the sequel, and Jason Momoa in like the blue, like more camouflage suit, which I'm kind of like, it does look cool, but we barely got a glimpse of him with like the traditional like orange, gold, traditional Aquaman suit. So I'm like, let's see him in that for a bit before we like switch it up. And then what other? Oh, the Flash, and then his version of like multiverses, because the Flash is able to go through multiverses, and we see that, and so that's kind of cool. So there's a lot of really good comic book content coming out. I'm excited. I really hope that DC. I mean, not that they haven't been doing. They've been doing really good. Like I was happy with the Suicide Squad movie. Peacekeeper. So like. There's a lot of good stuff that's coming out. So like that whole idea of like DC's been failing left and right, I think doesn't really ring true anymore. And there's a lot of cool characters within the DC universe that I'm just excited to see. And the Batman, obviously another one that's coming out with Catwoman and the Penguin in it as well. And that looks like it's going to be another win for them too.
I have mixed thoughts on the Batman based upon the trailers I've seen.
Yeah.
But I will watch it and give it a chance before making a final judgment on it. But I did read somewhere that the Flash, like you said, with the multiverse, there's going to be another version of Batman played by the one and only Michael Keaton. So I'm excited to see that more so than the movie, The Batman. I want to see Michael Keaton don the wings and the cape again.
Yeah. I want to see. So my favorite Batman is Michael Keaton. My favorite Superman is Henry Cavill. They have to bring him back as Superman because I feel like he was the best Superman ever. Like Hugh Jackman.
There hasn't been that many
for me. Huh?
There hasn't been that many Superman. So
there has. I mean, if you're taking it back to like the old school, there has. They're like, what is it, Jim Reeves or George Reeves that did like the original?
Christopher Reeves.
Christopher Reeves. Brandon Routh or Ruth or whatever his name was.
That's the forgotten ones because I don't think I saw those ones.
And then what's his face? The like conservative troll.
We're talking TV shows too. Okay, yeah. Dean Cain,
which is like the worst Superman
conservative troll.
And then they have like the new Superman and Lois, or I forget what it's called, but then they had Clarkville Superman. So there's been
fine.
Iterations of
fine.
Superman.
You're right.
Cavill is still like the best ever. But yeah, when it comes to the Batman, like as long as they do right by Catwoman, I'll be happy. Like Catwoman is just a cool character. Zoe Kravitz is really cool. So I think she'll be doing a good job. Like I think they've done Catwoman justice, like always. Like we have Eartha Kitt, Julie Newmar, Michelle Pfeiffer, Halle Berry. Even I think did a good job with what she had in the film. And Anne Hathaway was a good Catwoman as well. They all had like different approaches to it, but my favorite has been probably Michelle Pfeiffer, always will be. But I'm excited to see what Zoe Kravitz does with it.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, so that's cool. I can't wait for that.
Now, another trailer that got more airtime that I'm excited for is Jurassic Park Dominion. It's pretty cool. It's like the end trilogy of this Jurassic Park series. And what's cool is they brought back all the original characters like Alan Grant. Well, not Alan. What's the guy who plays Sam Neill, Jeff Goldblum? They're all coming back. So I think that's really cool how they're bringing them back in from the very first Jurassic Park movie.
Yeah. Are they the people who played the kids coming back?
I think so, yes. Yeah. As older adults, yeah. I think I saw them in there and they were tweeting about it. So yeah, it's pretty cool.
That would be cool. I hated them. Jurassic Park.
Of course you did. It was Steven Spielberg kids. Come on.
They were so annoying. But yeah, I'm excited about it. I still love seeing dinosaurs in movies because I was such a big fan of dinosaurs when I was a kid. So anything like just to be able to see them like, in real life or whatever is really cool. I just think they're super neat and cool. So I'm excited about that. I'm not really invested in the characters as much, like really seeing the original cast is cool. I am a really big fan of Laura Dern. I think she's a really cool actress. And Sam Neill's cool. Jeff Goldblum's obviously really cool. So I'm excited to see them, but like I'm not like rushing to be like, oh, what happened to their characters? It's kind of secondary to like the spectacle of the dinosaurs. So I'm excited for that. So that is cool. The other thing that has been kind of exciting for me, maybe not in a good way, and probably like it's a negative personality trait that I have. But this whole Kanye West thing is like, it just keeps getting worse and worse. Like his slip into stalker ex-husband with Kim Kardashian. I mean, I know you're not involved
in
the drama Twitter or whatever, so I'll just share with you and with the fans, our listeners.
You can say it, our fans, yeah.
So he keeps going after Pete Davidson, which I think is so weird because Pete Davidson didn't steal your wife. If someone steals anyone from you, they weren't yours to begin with, and you don't own Kim Kardashian. So it's like super misogynistic to even have that sort of dialogue or conversation. But he keeps escalating it to the point where like Kim Kardashian sent him texts of like, you need to drop this with Pete. Like it's going to get dangerous. Like someone's going to attack him. So of course, Kanye West posted that conversation that he had with Kim onto Instagram for everyone to see, and then said like, to his fans, like, don't do anything to Pete, like I'll handle it myself. And then he had like a picture of like a character from that movie, Baby Boy, with like the stepdad like holding the kid. It's so weird that someone so rich and so famous is involved in this debacle, like this mess. I can relate to someone, obviously, like I think we all can, who's maybe heartbroken, if he is heartbroken by his divorce, to the mother of his children, but it's really spiraling out into like very toxic behavior, stalking and just misogynistic overtones of, she's mine and, he created her and, just a lot of really crazy stuff. So it's one of those things that I can't stop watching the drama as it unfolds. But there is another part of me that's like really kind of sad. It's almost like I could kind of compare it to like the Britney Spears saga of how at first it was kind of like funny and like, oh, look, she shaved her head. Then it was like, oh, wow. Like, no, there's some serious issues that she's dealing with. And at first it's like, oh, Kanye West is crazy. He's just like an eccentric genius or whatever, if you want to call him that. But now it's like his behavior is very, is it indicative of other issues that he may have? And as, people who are listening to his music, who are following him on Instagram or who are within that pop culture realm, like, do we kind of put him on pause? Do we support him as he's going through this? Like, do we try to have like a, come to Jesus moment for Kanye, and like, does someone need to have a conversation with him and be like, hey, slow down, dude. Like you're taking it to another level that's like really not going to end well for anyone involved. So it is kind of unfortunate to see things as they're unfolding.
Yeah.
But it just, I don't know, it just seems to keep getting worse. And at the end of the day, like, I just feel sorry for their kids because their kids are young. They'll have to relive this or see it as it unplayed or played out. Sorry. In when they get older, and no one wants to see.
It's not going anywhere. It's like permanent record now. Yeah.
Yeah. And no one wants to see their parents like fight like that, or, have that negativity around their divorce. And it's just like, it's over, like move on and just be focused on like the positivity of raising your kids, which he on one hand says that's what he wants to do, because that's one of his things that he sort of a point of contention with Kim Kardashian is that he doesn't have his full rights as a father to be able to have access to his kids. But then at the same time, like he does seem to be adding like salt on the wounds, or like adding, to the fire
of why he's not doesn't have it. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's unfortunate, but it is, I mean, I would be remiss if I didn't bring it up because it is like a hot topic in pop culture right now. It's pretty much like every day, like what did Kanye West say on Instagram about Kim Kardashian? What was her response, or how did they react to it? So it hopefully it dies down soon, and maybe like the media needs to stop covering it. Unfortunately, with social media, he has the ability to put all this information out there, and he has millions of followers. So even if the media does ignore him and doesn't, add more to this, he's still freely putting that out. And I think that's what's unhealthy.
Well, it's unhealthy, and it's I think you're right in that someone on his team needs to, hey, let's rein this in, let's bring this back down a notch, because it's not going to go well for everyone. I mean, it can't. I mean, it's spilling over into my realm of the Twitter sphere because I don't follow that drama, but people I do follow who I look for news or whatever, they're commenting about it. So it is that spillover. So I know of it. I don't know what was actually said between the two of them, but I know that it's going on, and people are wishing that people would stop apologizing for him, saying that, oh, he's been through so much, that's why he's doing this and whatnot. And just, kind of check him, say, hey, you got to stop this.
Yeah. So it's bad. The other thing that I've been watching, which is you're also not involved, is Celebrity Big Brother, which has had a lot of turns and twists that are quite surprising for me. Just to kind of, I don't know, briefly talk about it, is going into it, I was a fan of Todrick Hall, like thinking, oh, I hope he does really well. Plot twist is that he might be the villain of the season. I think that people are now accusing him of going kind of really low and attacking other celebrities on the show on a personal level. So to fill you in, apparently he mentioned Chris Kirkpatrick as a father, and his son being embarrassed of him, and his wife being embarrassed of him based off of his time on the show, which I think is inappropriate to kind of bring in your personal life on a reality show.
Well, that's what people want, right?
Not necessarily in Big Brother. I think we want drama, but we want drama revolving the activities in the house, not necessarily going after people's personal lives. There's a line, like there have been some villains in Big Brother history that have been called out and sort of attacked because they've kind of gone low, like racist or misogynistic.
Okay, yeah, that's bad.
Yeah. And so like now people are kind of, calling him out on that on Twitter. And it's unfortunate because I think that maybe he's not aware of how he's being viewed because he's stuck in the house. He did also kind of go after Shayna Moakler in the house. She just got eliminated. And I think that there's another accusation of his is that he might be so-called slut shaming her by saying that she dressed provocatively in the house in order to win votes from some of the straight men on there. And that's unnecessary. in the game, and I think that that's really unfortunate if that is accurate, an accurate representation of what's going on.
So this, sorry to interrupt your flow of thought. So this is happening currently. It's not pre-recorded.
It's live right now, so they're still in the house.
Oh, I didn't know that. I thought it was all like filmed, like many shows are, so like last year or something.
Is that they film it live? Some of the episodes are like, let's say they have it ready for Sunday and they air it on Sunday. Now it's not live. Then they have live evictions where it's live on the air.
Oh, I didn't know that. Oh, interesting.
They're sequestered. Like typically, I'm not sure if the stars are right now because Chris Kirkpatrick did tweet something, and I don't know if they're allowed to do that. But he's really pissed off by what occurred in the house, and I know Shayna will be, and so. It's interesting because it was a twist that I wasn't really prepared for. I didn't think that he would go down that route. I think that he has had some naysayers in the past regarding his business acumen, like not paying his dancers on time, not paying them well, things of that nature, being fake or manipulative. And I don't think that he's prepared for how it's going to impact the way people view him on the outside of the game. I don't think any of the celebrities were prepared for that because reality shows have a tendency of editing people as like, sometimes good and bad. It's still based off of the behavior that they have in the house. It's them, but it's edited and you don't get to see the full picture. And then so when they get off, they're like, oh my God, I have fans, or I don't have fans and I'm a villain. And I think that that's the route that it's going to go for him. I think Shayna Moakler is going to come out on top. I mean, she already got eliminated, but I think she's going to come out with some fans or more fans, and he might be coming out with less. So that's interesting. That's the way that's playing out. It's still to be determined because, maybe something will happen within the next few days that changes people's perceptions. But I think that the reunion is going to be really interesting because there's going to be some questions that are going to be thrown his way from the other celebrities. And I don't think he's one to back down. So it's definitely going to have some drama. And I'll be there watching.
Excellent. To be honest, I just had to look up who Todrick Hall was because I did not know who he was.
Yeah, he's a former American Idol contestant.
Yeah, that's what I saw.
And then he got really big on YouTube making his own videos and like really great production values. Like he's a musical theater kid. He's been, I think, in Broadway stuff. He was on The Masked Singer. He's now on Celebrity Big Brother. I think he's been vocal about possibly being on Dancing with the Stars. And so he's been on RuPaul's Drag Race as a judge. So he does drag himself, I think, as well. So he's like a multi-talented individual.
Yeah, sounds like it.
But he's not one without having a bit of controversy as well. As so many people that find themselves in the spotlight find out that people who are fans or devour pop culture are very fickle, and on one time they're your biggest fan, and then the next second they're like they hate you and you're the scum of the earth. And so he's faced a lot of that. He still has a lot of fans. I do like his music. I think it's interesting and it's really cool. But he might be surprised. He had a quote because they film 24 hours a day, so you can go and see the live streams if you're, I think, a subscriber to CBS's live stream thing. And they have him being quoted as saying like that Shayna Moakler's famous for marrying famous people, that she didn't earn her fame like everyone else in the house, and that she's going to be surprised that she's the villain and no one likes her. And I think that it's actually going to be the other way around. So we'll see what happens. It's kind of interesting. And it's funny that these celebrities go in there, on their own volition. They know that it may show them not in the best light. It's not, it's not going to be the regular editing that they're used to. So, and we'll see what happens. I'll keep everyone updated.
Stay tuned right here on PopCultX for Celebrity Big Brother news.
Well, I'm barely like, my little 30-second clip of what happened. But there's people that are diehard Big Brother fans that, literally watch all of the live streams and they talk about it on Twitter, and they're, devouring every single second and know everything that's said. I'm watching the edited show, but and then I'm like secondhand getting it off of Twitter of like what goes on, like while it's not live on the air or on the edited show. And sometimes that is the show, the stuff that they don't show on TV and that, you know, is being aired on the streams, but not aired on the television show. And so there's sometimes it's almost a completely different show, you know, behind the scenes. So
is there anyone in the house that doesn't know they're on a TV show?
So Lamar Odom literally doesn't know how Big Brother's played. It's hilarious. Okay. Like he's like, well, why shouldn't I vote that person? And they're like, well, because we want her out. And if you save her, then we can't vote for her. And he's like he just like literally doesn't know the rules, but he is coming off as like a really cool guy. Like he's been very apologetic and vocal about how he's sorry to Khloe Kardashian, what he did in their marriage, and how he wishes that he could just have a dinner with her just to see her again and to apologize. And so he's one that I didn't really know a lot about. And now I'm a fan of his because he seems like to be like a very sincere and genuine person.
Cool.
Shayna Moakler, the same thing. I wasn't a big fan of hers. I really like her now. And so man, what a double-edged sword. Like it's going to help them show them in a different light, but it's also showing Todrick in a very different way. And he's not getting the hero edit at all. Oh, and Chris Kattan quit. So I told you that Chris Kattan was on it, and he didn't necessarily go into what the details were, but by seeing his body language, you can see that he struggles with, you know, I don't know. I know it is out in the media that he had like a neck injury from performing on Saturday Night Live and like throwing himself on tables and stuff. And he's very limited in his
mobility. At the Roxbury would do
it. And so he's physically, I don't think was up to being in the house. And so he bounced and voluntarily just left. He was like, I'm done. I have to go home. And so it's kind of sad because I think in the household, he was one of the ones that like wasn't involved in the drama. And so everyone liked him. And he came off as kind of a likable character as well. So we'll see how his career changes, you know, if he becomes more popular.
I always like Chris Kattan.
Yeah, he's funny. Yeah. He's a funny guy.
Yeah.
Most of the people on Saturday Night Live, I've always been a fan of. And speaking of Saturday Night Live and kind of going back to Kanye West real quick, he actually, one of his ways that he's trying to get back at Pete Davidson is he messaged, oh my God, what's the guy on there, Che? I forget that.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about.
Yeah. He was like one of the head writers. And Kanye West sent him a message, Michael Che, and said, I'll double your salary if you get Pete Davidson fired. Publicly, really? And so Michael Che messaged him back. He was like, I would never betray my friend like that. And wow, and it's cool. Like crazy. Like you're literally trying to destroy his career because he's dating your ex-wife. Like that's just not cool. Like it's just crazy. And I can't imagine what's going through Pete Davidson's head right now. Like I'm sure he has to be concerned and has to be watching his back. Like, is some fan going to try to like beat me up because in their head, they're protecting Kanye West from Pete Davidson. And it's just, it's so weird and so surreal.
Let's take it even further full circle back to the Super Bowl commercials. So I guess then Kanye West must be very delighted and was throwing popcorn in the air when he saw the Hellerman Mayo commercial where at the end, Joseph Mayo tackles Pete Davidson.
I didn't even see that, but he probably was cheering.
He probably was cheering. And of all the commercials I saw, I will give credit to Hellerman mayonnaise. They brought up a topic that doesn't get discussed that much. It's food waste.
Oh, yeah.
So, because, here in America, we waste so much food, whether it be leftovers or just stuff we didn't finish or stuff that maybe not as fresh or as picture perfect as we would expect. So their whole commercial was, don't throw away that bread, turn it into a grilled cheese sandwich or something like that with our mayonnaise. And I thought that was really cool and a good message that was just beyond selling mayonnaise.
Yeah. It still grosses me out. I'm not a fan of mayo. It's so the whole time that you were talking, I'm like, oh, mayonnaise, so gross. I guess gross. Throw it away. It's so gross. I'll have it in like sandwiches, but just mayo is just really gross. I can't stand it. Um, so yeah, I'm not a big fan. I would throw it away. I'm actually the worst. Where I used to be a lot worse. Like I used to use like salad dressings like maybe for a week and then throw it away because I didn't like the way it smelled. Like I just felt that like it was like gross. I don't know why, but I was the worst when it came to food waste. But I think that I've gotten much better now. And I hate leftovers. I'm not a big leftovers fan.
Aren't you like regulated now? Isn't the city of San Diego forcing you guys to compost?
Not yet. We're going to.
Yeah. I think that's really cool. They're giving everyone compost bins and whatnot.
We'll see what the reality of it is like because my garage, I have a 2-car garage. So like we have somewhat of space, but we already have 2 big bins. Like we have our regular garbage and then our recycle. And now we're going to have to add a third. So yeah, I don't know. We'll see how that turns out. I might be dumping my compost like in the desert. It's all natural. It's going to recycle.
It'll decompose, yeah.
So,
right on.
I have a feeling a lot of people are going to be doing that, unfortunately.
Yeah, so you see like the parks have like banana peels just stacking up. I ain't keeping that at my house.
Yeah. I know a lot of people are going to be doing it for sure. But we'll see.
We shall see.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that was all that I saw. What did you see this week? Anything else that you wanted to discuss?
Not much. I saw a couple movies, didn't really get into too much this week. I finally accepted your challenge and I watched The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo, which was really good, but we'll save that for our Power of Cinema episode, which if you guys watch next week, maybe you'll see it.
just as a brief hint of maybe that discussion, didn't you think that I was really impressed the way they physically transformed Rooney Mara, or is it Mara Rooney? I always forget her
Rooney
name.
Mara.
Rooney Mara, yeah. I think her real name is Mara Rooney, and she switched it. Yeah, I think her last name is Rooney. I don't know. I forget.
No, anyway. I think you're right because like her uncle is Art Rooney or something like that, who owns like the Pittsburgh Steelers or something.
I was going to say that too. Yeah, she comes from a very well-off family. Anyway, they transformed her in like a brilliant way. Like she's a very beautiful woman, but I bought her character being like a disturbed, tech genius, like antisocial, punk, goth, like so cool. Like I just love the visual of her in that movie. Her piercing,
missing eyebrows. For me.
Yeah, like just everything was so cool, like just up my alley. I loved it. I am such a big fan of her look in that film. Like it was, I don't know if you would call it like tech goth or like tech punk, but it was just so cool. I loved it.
Yeah, it was cyberpunk, I think.
Yeah, cyberpunk, goth. Yeah, and it looks cool. She just looks very hot in that style of attire, and her hair and everything about it was just very cool.
Yeah, I have some more thoughts on that, but we'll save that for our conversation. That's a teaser. Yeah, so that's about it for me this week. We appreciate all of you guys tuning in, watching and subscribing and sharing and following along as we give you our points of view from our Gen X sensibilities. So thanks, everyone.
Yeah, thank you for listening and watching. Stay safe.
All right.